It's good to have you back, everyone, and Merry Christmas. I'm Gio with Carvalho Creations, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I turned an old Bucky skeleton into this jolly old elf. Now, right off the bat, I do not sew, and this entire guy is held together using hot glue. So if you're anything like me and you can't sew, you're in luck, because today's tutorial is going to be a lot easier for you. But for now, I want you to get nice and cozy, get in that holiday spirit, because we're about to go wild. All right, everyone, to start off our build today, since we're making an elf, instead of making the armature like I normally do, and I typically make it out of like some wire or something like that and build the frame out of that, some of you might not want to do that. So instead, you may have one of these mini Bucky skeletons lying around from Halloween, and we're going to turn this guy into our elf. Now, this dude's posable. It's really cool, super easy to do. So we're going to be using this, just to go over the product list or the material list. We're using different types of fabric. Just for the elf costume, and I want it to be really festive, so I have white, some Christmas green here, a little bit of this glitter material that you'd find at the Dollar Tree, but this stuff I got at Hobby Lobby, some leather wrap for the belt, and some different accessories that'll go with that. And this skeleton head is a little too small for my sculpt. I typically like the elf heads to be oversized and the hands to be a little more oversized as well. So I'm going to sculpt this out of the foam air dry clay, the face itself, the head, and also the hands, so they look more realistic. And then also, I got a styrofoam head that I'm gonna replace this one with, so it's a little more oversized. I think it'll fit better on the head, and it'll just look more appealing in the end. Plus, I'll be able to carve this away a little bit to get the face I want. And on top of that, I found some small eyes. It's gonna be hard to see. I'll show you guys in a second a little closer, but these are little plastic eyes. If you guys watch my Jack Frost video, I used these. I ended up using these, and it was such a huge difference. And I got like a set of like 32 pairs of these for like 12 bucks on Amazon. And they just do a great job. I'm not sure if you can see this here. I'll show them, like I said, a little closer in the end, but these are gonna be fit into the skull here, and then I'll sculpt around them this time, so you'll be able to see that. But this is gonna be a really cool build. It'll be relatively inexpensive. I mean, for the character, the way it's gonna come out, it's gonna be definitely worth your money. So stick with us, because we got a lot to do. To start this one off, I just wanted to show you guys these eyes I was talking about I got from Amazon. They're really cool, and they're perfect. And they're a little small. If you're doing a full face, they're a little bit small, but I was able to pull them off with the Jack Frost. So they are workable. It's just gonna take a little bit to get them in the right position and sculpt around them. But for now, what I wanna do is hot glue these into place. And I don't want these eyes too close, so I'm just gonna put a bead of hot glue around the edge here. Don't burn the hell out of myself. And the most important thing is getting these to sit straight where I want them without looking crooked or cross-eyed. So I might separate these just a little bit more, so they're not centered in the skull itself, but they're a little wider for the character's face I'm gonna end up creating. And again, I just want to make sure they're the right size, in the right position, and facing the right direction. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and do some lines just to carve in some of the features here and carve out a little bit of this teeth. I don't want these fake teeth right here, so I'll do that off camera, and then we'll get right to the sculpt. So to start off this sculpt, all I did was carve away some of the foam to get the features in the way I wanted them, and then filled some of the gapping here. So when I go to use my foam clay, I don't have to use so much, and it gives me a structure to work with. So I'm not gonna talk for the rest of this sculpt. We're just gonna leave it as is and get going.
Then you know it's Christmas, when the snow starts to fall. Then you know it's Christmas, for the children above all. Then you know it's Christmas, 'cause Santa's on his way. We'll stand under the mistletoe, and then it's Christmas Day. The joyful times we witness forever stays with us. Soon Rudolph hears his whistle and gathers all his friends. When Santa and his missus wraps the final gift, you know it's time for Christmas for each and every one.
All right, our next step in this video is we're going to be doing the airbrushing now. I just mixed up like a tan color. I taped off the eyes with some masking tape just to cover those. I don't want those to get dusted with any paint and lose their vibrancy. So now we're just going to go ahead and dust this dude, the tan color. So we finished up the airbrushing now, and I just wanted to give you guys a little more detailed look. How cool those new plastic eyes look and how smooth the airbrushing is. I really like to do the airbrushing for this kind of character because it looks softer, more whimsical. And then these are the hands. These are just simple hands, just like my hands video. Same thing, but just give them a little more character to them. Also too, what I went ahead and did is just taped a wire on this posable area, so if I want to pose him, he'll sit a little bit better with that wire, just helping him out. So I did that to the legs as well. Now we're going to get on to the clothes. All right, so for the next step, now that we have the hands and the face done and everything's attached to the body here, I'm gonna go ahead and start filling this with that upholstery batting I was talking about. And I got this out of an old cushion, because this stuff is pretty expensive. So I was like, oh man, an old cushion, this will work. So I'm gonna shove this in the rib cage here. I'm gonna fill out all the stomach and fill up the arms the way I want them to look. And I'm just gonna take some masking tape and wrap everything around so it stays in place. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the fabric over the top. Now, I'm just gonna layer on the material in sections. So I'll do the limbs, I'll do the legs and the arms first, try to cover the hand a little bit. And then as far as the seams, I'm gonna hot glue everything in place. And if I do it right and layer it right, it'll work out perfectly. Now that we got our batting all taped on there, just to give us a rough kind of feel of what this guy's gonna look like, I'm gonna take my material, and this is just regular felt, so cheap material, and then I'm gonna hit this with some spray adhesive, okay? And it gets pretty sticky pretty quick, so I'm gonna work from the bottom ankle and then start to wrap my material. And I want the seam in the back, so I'm gonna pull that where I want the seam and then just kind of wrap this around. But I'm gonna take a bead of hot glue and run it down the back as well, just to make that seam really tight. Okay, so I flipped my elf upside down and I cut a piece here that's gonna go around the back and over the shoulders. Now I'll show you this in detail after what I did to everything, but I just wanted to show this part. So again, we're gonna hit with some spray adhesive, just so it sticks to the batting. And then I'm also gonna hot glue the seam on the top, and I'll show you in a second. Because because I want the inside seam here to stick to the sculpt so it'll cover all that batting. So I'm just gonna go over it with a bead of hot glue and then stick it down into place. Just to show you what I did here, after I wrapped the arms, I wrapped them just like I did the legs. I wrapped the arms themselves, and like I showed you in the back where I cut the that chest plate, I did the same in the front and just layered it on the side and glued it on the seam. Now, again, it's not a sew job. It's not going to be perfect like that, but it works what I'm doing. And then I'm using my old toddler clothes, my son, and just putting it over it so he looks like a workshop elf. Now he's gonna get like a beard and some eyebrows so he doesn't look so sickly, because right now he looks kind of weird, but we'll get the hat on there. I'm gonna get some little red gloves and I'm gonna make some red shoes to fit on the bottom. But this is the progress so far. The last part I want to make on this character are his shoes. And we're gonna be just taking his little foot here and I'm gonna trace around it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. And I definitely want it to be a little oversized. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a little bit of space, but get a rough form for the shoe. Okay, I think that's about good. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and cut this out and then make an identical pair, and then I'm gonna glue this piece of cardboard to the base of the foot, then I'll show you the next step. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take one of these feet here, start with this one so you can see, and I'm just gonna put hot glue on the bottom of it. Okay, being generous with the hot glue. And then I'll go ahead and take my little foot pad here and glue it right to the bottom. And this is just gonna give me a little base to start with. So that's the first step, just gluing the base plate on. And then I cut strips of cardboard here and I'll start gluing them to the base this way. Now I can trim this as I go to get the right size I'm looking for, but it's just to give a basis to start with. But that'll be a good start. I'll probably cut this down a little bit and taper it down, and then maybe use some foil to kind of bend it up because I want that elf curve on the shoe in the front. So that's what we'll do next. So I'm just gonna take more hot glue, just put that inside rim where it's gonna touch that cardboard. All right, and then just fit it around the back side here. If I can get this on camera. Now I'll go ahead and take a little more hot glue while I have it holding here and just kind of fill that gap in a little bit. I'm gonna wrap this entire thing with material anyway, but I still want a little strong base to start with. And then I can trim as I go. I'll move the camera in a second too, so you guys will be able to see it. Create a little line that comes out about here, and then I'm gonna taper it down so I can create a slope on this shoe. And then I'll take my X-Acto knife, little razor blade here, and cut that section out. So now you can see how it tapers down, and then I'll create the front of the shoe at the end. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut this other side. We have a nice little shoe, the beginning of it anyway, and then I'll show you the next step in a second. Okay, so I'm taking a thin piece of the cardboard. I'm laying it over the top now of the shoe, and I'm just gonna create a little mark, just like that. And then I'll cut this out with my blade. Okay, and that's gonna serve as my top arch for the shoe here. Just so when I put the felt over, it's got something to grab onto. And then I'll go ahead and hot glue this little piece in place. Just let it sit like that. And to create the front of the arch, I'm doing the same thing. Cut another little strip of cardboard. I'm gonna fit it around the front of the shoe here and hot glue it into place. And then I'll carve away a little bit of this to create more of an arc and a point. And then I'll just take the felt and hot glue it on itself until I create that little spiraled tip. One last thing I wanted to create for the base of this before I start to cover it with material is just a little tongue that I'm gonna stick here. And I think that's gonna be cool if I wrap that with material, maybe put some bells and stuff on here or a buckle or something. It'll give it a little bit more style. So I'll hot glue that into place and then we can start with the actual felt. I cut a strip of green felt and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue it around the actual boot here, making sure to leave a little bit of overhang on the bottom side so I can fold this under. And then what I'll do is cut another piece to fit on the bottom here and then push that into place. So it creates like a little cover for this. And then also on the top here, I'll be able to fold this into place after I put another piece of felt here over the tongue, and then I can create that little point at the end. And I'll probably get another scrap piece and just kind of twirl it up on itself to give a little bit more of a peak to that. But this is gonna be a really cool shoe, super easy. Thanks for diving into the merry mayhem of creating a Christmas elf with me today. If you guys are worried about getting a lump of coal in your stocking because your Christmas elf looks more like a stand-up comedian than a holiday helper, don't worry about it. Santa's got a good sense of humor. For more awesome holiday creations, make sure you subscribe down below and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. And until next time, keep building things, stay creative, and don't forget to go wild. I'm Gio from Carvalho Creations, wishing you a merry elfin Christmas. So long. Yeah, Jolly the elf. Damn, this is hot.